What is up, guys? Today just a short video on a quick model build. It's not really a build, it's just kind of a finish. And I already sanded this piece. This is a TT33 copy, or TT55, whatever, Chinese or Russian. So I'm going to be primering this and painting it black. So I've already sanded it with 150 grit pretty well. It's going to be just a prop, so it doesn't have to be super spectacular looking. And what I'm going to be using is this sandable primer. So I'm not being paid by the brand or anything, but you can find this at Harbor Freight, Walmart, Target sometimes, or your hardware store, AutoZone. A lot of auto places will carry this. So it's basically just sandable primer, ideal for smooth filling of surface cracks and imperfections. Top coat uniformity, good for metal, wood, and fiberglass. It's good for plastic too. The instructions suggest to use gloves like with any spray paint or aerosol. Shake the can well for at least 2 minutes. Hold can 12 inches. Spray back and forth. So yeah, you're applying this like regular spray paint, and you're letting it 10 minutes between coats and 30 minutes to an hour for full cure. So I'm gonna go ahead and shake this up, and we're going to be primering this. Alright, so the next step here is I just set up a corner of my room. I've got all the windows open and the ceiling fan on. It'd be better to do this outside in a well-ventilated area or in the garage with everything open. But I live on the second floor, so I don't have a garage or even a backyard with this apartment, unfortunately. So I set up my corner with a tarp from the dollar store, Dollar Tree, 99-cent store, Dollar General, whatever. And just some scrap newspaper because I want the tarp to at least last a little while. And it's just easier to clean up to throw away the paper instead of all the fold up a sticky tarp. Anyways, we got here some 70% ISO alcohol, rubbing alcohol basically. You could use Windex, but you want to make sure there's no residue or film on it. I wouldn't recommend using Windex at first, but if it's all you have, then it's okay. Don't use acetone. It will make the surface gummy on PLA, and it takes a long time to dry and stabilize. I don't really have any tools. I don't have gloves. I'm going to be using this hook to kind of move it around, but my plan is to only paint primer each side, paint each side, so I want a couple of light coats of each. I have some self-priming black paint that will be used on this, so let's get to it. You're going to want a rag, old sock, anything will work as long as it doesn't have any oil on it or it's not dirty. So I'm putting some rubbing alcohol on the rag, and I'm just going to wipe it down. And what the alcohol kind of does, because PLA is kind of like water soluble or biodegradable, whatever, it'll actually smooth over a good amount of the dry areas and stuff. It's kind of, I don't know if alcohol binds plastic, but it does something to PLA. So there we go. Sorry for my crappy camera angles. We've wiped the gun down. Don't worry about touching it too much with your bare hands. At this point. Okay, make sure I'm in view. So we got the primer. Usually these come with like a dent or a mark to kind of line up the nozzle, but I don't know if that really matters with this product. Okay, so I'm going to spray from 10 to 12 inches away, side to side, and I'm not going to try and really saturate anything. I really just want to light coat. So I'm spraying at an angle because it's going to be harder to hit the bottom areas later on, and you usually have the tendency to overspray to try and correct small spots, and all you're doing is going to muck up the whole thing. So I gave it about 6 sprays maybe, and I'm going to let it dry for a bit. I'm going to turn it over and then do the same on its side. Okay, so I turned the camera off. It's been a few minutes. I'm going to use the hook to grab a hold of the model and just flip it over. And I'm going to do the same to the side that I did previously. And you want to make sure you hit those hard to hit bottom corners first. It's easier to do the hard parts first and then go over the easy parts last, lighter. So I'm not going too wild with it. I really just want to make sure that this stuff gets into the cracks and seams of things. Now I went a little crazy there, but I'm impatient, like I said, so I want to hurry up with this project. This has to get shipped out to a customer pretty soon. Alright, it's been another 5 minutes. It's now tacked and dried, and you can see the benefit of using this hook really. So I'm going to keep it on the hook, keep it over the spray area, and this is where I'm going to get, the major, the main sides of the model, main areas. So I'm just using the hook to kind of move the prop around to where I need it. And since I've already primered both sides, I can go a little heavy now and cover the areas that I think are troublesome or harder to get. Now it is sandable, so I'm not too worried about getting too much on there because I'm going to fix it. So you notice I kind of just went all out there. It's at the end, and this is the final coat of primer. So I'd say it had a coat on each side and then a pretty good final coat. I'm gonna let this dry. I'm gonna bend this hook and hang it so that it could dry. And we'll cut to the next part of the project. Alright guys. So the primering's done, and all I'm going to do is use some 150 grit. Yeah, I think this is 150 grit. Anyways, I'm just using a scrap piece of sandpaper and going over very lightly to get all those little burrs and whatever floating in the air that got caught with the paint, primer, I mean. This is some good stuff, guys. Like, it's not hard to, it's not like body filler where you have to work forever to sand it. And 2 or 3 coats will probably do you pretty good. That's all you need. So this is like just a really in-house ghetto setup. Like I said, I live in an apartment, and there's not a lot of space to do anything, and you don't really want to mess up like the kitchen or anything. So I've got a tarp, and pretty much I'm all set. What I'll do is I have a small vacuum with a little hose that comes off, and I'll just clean everything after any kind of dust. I'm not too worried about making a mess. I mean, you could set up the tarp better to work over and really be clean, but it seems like I'm doing it just kind of quick, and that's true. I'm just trying to get the fuzzy layer from the top, really. the filler did a pretty good job, and not hard work. In tighter places like this, you might want to use a popsicle stick or something with, stick or something with paper glued to it so you can hit the small tight angles. I'll just use my fingers like this. It doesn't have to be perfect because obviously it's going to look used at the end. It's a prop. Okay. Almost done here. Really quick. And when you're sanding, you kind of want to go across, not with the grain of the print, but across, so that it just keeps a little bit more filler into the areas that it needs to stay. As you use the paper, it'll get more pliable, and you just kind of use your fingers and get the hang of it, how to use it. So, I'm going to go ahead and say that, I'm going to go ahead and say it's pretty much done. Just kind of hit the trigger a little bit. In smaller areas, like I said, you want to use your fingers or popsicle stick, pencil, anything you can get your hands on. Alright, so we're looking good, looking really good. Let's touch up a couple of little areas that paint needs to stick very well. Okay, satisfactory. Next, I will be showing you guys paint.